Alright, friends of this channel, welcome back. I'm Dave. I am the Real Music Observer, observing real music in real time for real people just like you and just like me. Lindsey Buckingham and the legal aspects of him returning to Fleetwood Mac. Somebody sent me a message, a very thoughtful message about how this shouldn't have happened in the first place if Lindsey Buckingham was part of an LLC, if his name was basically on the title, the deed, so to speak, of this band. There'd be no way for him to get ousted like this. And it raises some questions about how the business is arranged, if it's just under, Mick Fleetwood's control, or if it's Mick Fleetwood, Stevie Nicks, Christine McVie, John McVie. I mean, I don't know how that was arranged. I know in other bands, typically all the members draw up a contract where everybody is part of the LLC. Everybody is in on just the band name, for instance, like the ownership of that name. Now, because the name of this group is Fleetwood Mac, and not Fleetwood Buckingham, or his name wasn't incorporated into that, which makes sense because the name of this group is old, and the older a brand is, the more it's worth. It has more name recognition. That's why when Buckingham was ousted, that part of the business model gets shut out from him completely. He is no longer able to make money under that moniker, which that's a big deal. That's why bands and individual members fight for the names of groups when a number of the members leave planet Earth or decide they don't want to be in the group anymore. Hence, even to this day, that's why Pink Floyd has really never fully reunited with Roger Waters in a real sense, because Waters is still very bitter that Gilmour went on without him and took the name and has kind of carried that name forward. But, when one guy doesn't want to work in the group and he signs paperwork saying that he doesn't want to be in and that he's got no rights to anything, it'll hold up in court. So with Buckingham, it's odd to me, but here's the thing about Lindsey. He's one of these guys, like the band Chicago, they talk about in their documentary in the 1970s, their manager Guercio, built them out of millions of dollars in publishing and controlled everything. They were the artists creating the art. They were compensated well, but proportionately, they weren't compensated well. The manager and the people kind of running the show ended up with more money, proportionately speaking. Now, I don't know what the arrangement was prior to this firing, but the fact that they were able to fire Buckingham from the group speaks volumes about the kind of arrangement Lindsey must have had with them regarding, the name of the group and just rights to things, business decision making. It's just bizarre. I mean, was Lindsey just a hired gun in this group? And by the way, all of this sort of underscores the idea that if Buckingham were to come back, he'd have to rewrite everything. He'd have to get in there. So if, his toenails aren't cut properly, he doesn't get fired again on a whim, because that's what happened this time. A smirk or, a make-believe coup over something that wasn't real. He's going to have a contract that is worded properly, and he's going to have a say in the business aspects of this in order for him to ever come back to this group. That's what I would do. I mean, this was embarrassing for him, his family, and he did nothing wrong. And the fact that we're still talking about it and people are still fired up about it is really indicative of just this lack of belief, this sort of stunned disbelief that we're all still kind of in if you're a fan of Lindsey Buckingham and not a fan of the status quo. So just some thoughts. I'm hoping that if there is ever a reunion, that Lindsey will sit down with an attorney so he doesn't have to go through this again, because he shouldn't have had to go through this. This should have just been like an argument within the group, and then they agree to disagree. They cool down for a few days, they come back together again, because Lindsey's status in the group is such that it really can't be touched, and it shouldn't have been touched at all. He should have been one of the primary movers and shakers in this band. All right, done. Be back soon. See you then.